Welcome to Sailing with the Jameses. I'm Kate, and this is Sam. And this is our daughter Charlie. A couple of months ago, we sold our house and all of our belongings and bought Endless Summer, a 55-foot Bruce Roberts yacht. We are now living on board full-time while we sail around the world. Follow our journey by pressing subscribe. This week on Sailing with the Jameses, we head off from Fraser Island and head to the Keppel Islands and check out an abandoned resort.
We're just crossing the Wide Bay Bar at the moment. You can see all the cars on the beach there at Fraser Island. They're just going back and forward to the ferry that goes across to Inskip Point. It's an incoming tide, so it's quite a pleasant crossing this time. Okay, so here we are, just anchored inside Inskip Point. Yesterday, with the incoming tide, we came across the Wide Bay Bar, which is this one here. So we waited for the incoming tide because otherwise we'd be going very slow across there, and just to flatten out the seas and make a nice quick easy passage. Now we've anchored just in the side. We're just going to have a few hours sleep and wait for the tide to change, and then we're going to be heading up the inside of Fraser Island here up through to Hervey Bay. Now on our way you can see there's a few different tidal marks, and what happens is there's only a small entrance here, so when the tide's coming in, a little bit of water comes in through there and a lot more water comes in through the other end because it's a lot more open. So this section in the center here, it'll start going out at the top, but the water will still be coming in here because as it's bottlenecked and restricting the flow, the tides here aren't quite as large as there. So theoretically saying it's 4 meters there, it may be a 3 meter high here. So as that tide is going out, it's still flowing into here because it was 4 meters, and say it's been going out to 3.5, it's still 0.5 meter higher than in here. So if my theory is right, we should be able to catch the incoming tide all the way in nice and early, and even when it started to go out here, it'll start flowing this way when that happens. So we want to be right up here nice and early for when it does start to go out, and that's where the tide will split. It's somewhere up the top here, and then we can go out, and we're going to head up to the resort and anchor off the resort. It's a yachty friendly resort, so as long as you buy something at the bar, they're more than happy for you to go and swim at the pool and check it out. But we need the tides because we're 2.2 meters, and as you can see when we go through these patches here, they're a lot less than 2.2 meters. So it's a 1 meter patch there, so we need the tide on top of that to go through this shallow area here. The start of the shallow areas is one spot just here where it's a little bit tight and small, and then the rest from there. So hopefully my tide theories are right and we'll make it through with the tide pushing us all the way. This is Gary's Anchorage. It's a nice, there's a rope swing and a little barbecue area in here. It's quite a nice place to stop halfway. We're going to go all the way through though, hopefully with my tides. And yeah, we'll let you know how we go tomorrow. So we've just branched off from the Wide Bay Harbour, and we've started to enter the slightly narrower channels here. This is where we start to get a bit more of a tidal push heading on up through to Hervey Bay. You can see that it's an absolute glamour day. You don't get too much wave action in here, but we're pretty lucky. There's a little bit of a breeze behind us here, so it's helping push us along, but once the channel gets a little bit narrower here, we'll have to put the headsail away. This is the bottom entrance into Gary's Anchorage, in behind Stewart Island. You can see this is Stewart Island here. There's a few houses on Stewart Island, so it's quite a nice place in there. If you look closely at these houses, a lot of them have a fair bit of solar on them. So I don't think they're just weekenders anymore, and I believe that people must live there semi-permanent full time. This is the northern end of Stewart Island, and there's a lot more houses and things in the end here, and wharves and things. The main reason being is the predominant winds that we get around about 9 months of the year in this area are southeasterly, so the winds will be coming up the channel the way that we're travelling right now, and that means that this end of the island is so much more sheltered and a lot more easier. You can see there's tenders on the beach there. There's a little wharf in front of that next house, and this house here also has its own little wharf, and so they're down this end just so it's a little bit more sheltered. And we're coming up to the beginning of the shallows now, where we'll have to be a little bit more careful. So we've just slowed down. We've only got the staysail out, and as you can see, there's hardly any wind in it. It's not doing too much. Yeah, we're just seeing how we go out of that way. If we do kiss the bottom in this tight little area, at least we'll be doing it at a slightly slower speed. Not that we anticipate that we will, but just in case, as we don't have a working depth sounder at the moment. Yeah, we'll just take things extra slow and extra careful. So this is the first little shallow bit, the first little hop, then we'll steam up to another little section.
And Sam put this sign in when he used to work for MSQ in Harvey Bay.
So this is the shallowest point of the whole trip here, up in the corner. So if we are going to touch the bottom, then this is the place we're going to do it, on this corner. And it does change a fair bit. This is usually where the tide splits, so the sand gathers here, as you don't get the tidal flow digging it out and keeping it as a nice deep area. And we made it. Now we're in front of the resort. There's a few boats here. It's a little bit of a speckledy day, but yeah, we've got the anchor down to rest up for the night and make a decision whether we go to the resort or keep heading north tomorrow.
Hello. Do you like your netting? Yes? Looks good? It's a dingo.
This is one of the few places in Australia where you can see purebred dingoes. So no dogs are allowed on Fraser Island, and as it's a bottled community there, they try and keep them as pure as possible. So it's 5 o'clock in the morning, and we decided to keep heading north, catch the tide out of the bay. The winds are again from the south, so they're fairly favourable. So we'll steam for a bit and then pop some sails and see how we go. So we've gone with just the mainsail here. The wind's quite square up the bum or behind us, and as it's fairly light, we've rather than just a head sail, we figured the main would give us a bit of an extra push north. But if we go the main and the head sail, then our apparent wind angle has to be finer than 50 degrees, where this way we can go right nice and deep. We've got a preventer on the main to stop it going across, and we're travelling quite nicely at this one. We're doing around about 7.5 knots, so I think we're going to keep on going all the way up to the Keppel Islands. It's the first glimpse of Great Keppel Island. We'll be there and anchored up very, very shortly.
So we're at the Great Keppel Island, and it's a bit rocky at this anchorage. We've made homemade stabilizers. A few boats have come past so far to have a look. So the boom is out to the port side. There's a rope hanging off. There's a bucket with a weight down. Preventer on the boom as well, so it can't rock back and forth. And off to the other side is the spinnaker pole. The rope down the other side with a bucket and a weight in it. So the idea is that when we rock and roll, the bucket will go down with the weight, and when it rolls back up, the bucket will create resistance. We've got a few jobs to do around the boat, and once they are done, we head off to explore Great Keppel Island.
So, hun, what are we doing today?
We're gonna go check out an abandoned resort. So this is a road here. There's more houses through those trees there and there. There's one there, and then there's another one right.
Look at the condition of the roofs. It's not even that old. Like, it must have lasted long. I know the landing barge wasn't that old. It was in a really good nick. Yeah.
Yeah, the roofs, and they all have solar water.
Yeah. Someone pumped a heap of money in here, and then the people just didn't come. It was a big setup, eh?
Yeah.
They must have landed the barge there and run everything up to here, and this is, you know what I mean, with all the pallets there. It's all the staging area for all the freight.
It was massive.
Yeah. Oktoberfest 2003. Yeah, there's more sheds over the back there. This is all the back of house stuff. Push it this way. See if we go this way. Hey!
We're gonna go to the next beach over there. And it looks like a really cool tree over there that we're gonna go take a look at. And something for sailors. It's alright.
Got a whole heap of buoys and bits and pieces that look like they've been left there by people who have visited the place over the past. You have little messenger trees around the place where people leave little bits and pieces, sign entries, stuff like that. So we're not sure if it's one of them, but we're going to go and have a look.
So this is the messenger tree. There's some more in the back, down there. There's some more over here. Sticks! You can leave that one. Oh. Yeah. Thank you. And like every boat, we split our time between maintenance and upkeep, as well as cruising and enjoyment. So we got a diver in when we were in Sydney to scrub the hull and also do the through hull fittings because we were having issues with the back toilet with the through hull fitting. Unfortunately, that did not fix our problem and we still have an issue. Something is stuck. And we are now in warmer and clearer waters, so it's time to jump in. We have a suspicion that it's scale buildup.
I am cleaning the hull with my toes though. If only we had a mask and snorkel. Shoot, if I can borrow one of these. Remember, really need to clean before it gets too hard, you know?
Yeah.
You reckon it's further under?
Here we are on Fisherman's Beach. Say hi! And we're anchored out there. So we are. Look how many boats are in the bay. And we're gonna check out the pizza parlor and the burger joint.
Yeah, whatever else we can find.
Even though the Great Keppel Island Resort is shut down and abandoned, there are still holiday homes on the island that you can rent. There's even a pizza and burger joint, as well as a bar that is decently priced. We're leaving Great Keppel Island and heading to North Keppel Island. Beautiful day for a sail. We are headed to North Keppel Island. There's the girl in the background. We are going so much slower than sail because someone keeps stopping to collecting all the shells. Yeah.
Oh, honey. So nice. There's clearly a fire on the snow. There might not be any rubbish in here, but
Oh,
someone's left vinegar if you get stung.
someone's put vinegar there for marine stingers if you get stung. So there's toilets and cold showers here. Here we are catching up to Sam. He's already in the showers.
Nice. I don't have one.
Wow.
Yeah.
Woo! So, hun, how's the showers?
It's nice. It's not that cold. Yeah, plenty of pressure. Yeah, really nice. I haven't tasted the water yet to see whether it's roof water or where it comes from. It's really nice. Fresh it up.
Not too bad. So for anyone who's not Australian, this is your typical restroom, toilets. Male and female. You can go in here. It's a drop toilet. And I like to look around before entering. Just check behind the door, up in the crevices, behind the bin, because really you don't know what's going to be hiding in here. I've once had it where I flushed the toilet and a green frog came out of the toilet. It was hiding up underneath the rim, and yeah, flushed the toilet and it gave me a fright. I've also had huntsman behind the door once. That's the huge spider that's larger than your hand. So yeah, so this is your typical, and I just like to go and look around first before using it. Sam's used to it, he goes in.
I have a bit of a look down the toilet first, just in case, but there's never really anything there.
So casual about it.
I've had a frog stick itself to my bottom once, that gave me a bit of a fright, but yeah.
Yeah, this is your typical restroom in Australia. So I've just said your typical toilet in Australia, and Sam wants me to correct that, and that's not what we have in our house. We have a normal toilet. That is your typical public restroom, not residential. So amendment number 3, Sam wants me to say that this is your typical rural public toilet. They don't have these in the cities. They have normal restrooms in the city for public. Hopefully the 3rd time's the charm for amendments. And sorry to any Australians who are watching this, please don't take offense. We are headed back to the boat. Gotta get all the sand off Charlie here first before we get into the dinner. And we're bringing our trash back with us because we didn't find any bins. So there are showers and toilets, but no bins. Tune in next week as we try to outrun severe winds and take shelter at Island Head Creek. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit subscribe to follow our journey.